The first verb is to enjoy. How would you say to enjoy in Arabic? You can type that in the chat. Yes, استمتع. استمتع يستمتع الاستمتاع. This is verb 1 of 22 verbs. Again, we will be using them in our Zoom session after this 15-minute live. And I will also be creating a story using these verbs to put them in context. I will be publishing this verb list with the translation and also a story to put them in context in a separate video. So 2 videos with these verbs. The second verb is أعجب. What is أعجب? Is to like, yes. And so to say to like in Arabic, it's very similar to what you say in Spanish, Russian, or French. We say it gains my admiration. So, for example, you say يعجبني هذا الكتاب. This book gains my admiration. In French, you say me plaît, and in Spanish, you say me gusta, and in Arabic, you say يعجبني. In Russian, you say мне нравится. So it's the same construction as in those 3 languages. To play is what? How would you say to play in Arabic? You say لعب, yes. لعب يلعب اللعب. To play an instrument is a different verb in Arabic. You say عزف يعزف العزف على عزف على يعزف على البيانو, for example. هل تعزف على آلة موسيقية? Do you play a musical instrument? Write it in the chat if you do. Let me know. Okay, then we have to continue. How would you say to continue in Arabic? Yes, you say واصل. Notice that it sounds like wasala, to arrive, but this is wasala with an alif, a long A, wasala. It's as if you were arriving and keep arriving, keep arriving. That means you're continuing, right? That's to continue. So sometimes you start a hobby and you continue it, right? And sometimes you feel bored with your hobby, right? And to feel in Arabic, to feel something is sha'ara bi, and it's always followed by a noun. So in this case, to feel bored is sha'ara bil malal. Al-malal is the noun form, boredom. So we say we feel with, and then the noun. So you can say أشعر بالبرد, I feel with cold, the noun. أشعر بالسعادة, I feel with happiness, to say I feel happy or I feel cold. أشعر بالبرد. So أشعر بالملل is I feel bored, but in Arabic we say I feel with boredom. أشعر بالملل, noun form. To start, how would you say to start? Yes, بدأ. بدأ يبدأ البدء. And so you can start a hobby. You can say I started a new hobby. بدأت هواية جديدة. To join, sometimes you join a musical group or a club. What's the verb? Do you know how to say to join in Arabic? Yes, انضم. انضم ينضم الانضمام. Very good. How about if you get into, in English you say I got into singing, right? It basically means that you started singing or you entered into a hobby of singing. So that would be the same as to just enter, right? دخل في. So you can say دخلت في الغناء, for example, I went into singing. دخلت في الغناء. And then to try to do something is حاول. So you could say I tried to sing. Maybe it didn't work. So حاول يحاول المحاولة. And then to try something, like to try a new hobby or a new food, would be جرب. جرب يجرب التجربة. And تجربة also means experience. So it's trying something new. Then we have to keep up. You know, sometimes you start a hobby, but then you cannot keep it up. So to keep up is واكب. واكب يواكب المواكبة. And then to back out, meaning to withdraw from a hobby, for example, or any activity, would be تراجع. Notice the root is رجع, to go back. So تراجع, adding the ta, means that the action is really in the subject. The subject is actually doing this action. So تراجع is to back out. Sometimes you have to quit a hobby for some reason. We'll see in the story how this fits in the story, right? So to quit a hobby is تخلى عن. تخلى يتخلى, and the noun form is التخلي with the ya at the end. ألف مقصورة changes to ya. And then sometimes if you have a hobby, you have to sign up at a club, for example. And the verb is سجل. To sign up is سجل يسجل. التسجيل, to sign up or to register, right? To register at the club. And then we have to afford. Sometimes you want to join a club, but you can't afford it. How do you say to afford in Arabic? Well, it comes from the verb حمل. حمل is to carry. And تحمل is to yourself carry. You see? The subject. Adding the ta means that the verb is really done by the subject. So the action is done by the subject. So تحمل is to afford, to be able to carry the cost if you want. تحمل مصاريف النادي. Okay, and then we have to preserve. To preserve, how would you say not to preserve? How do you say to persevere? To persevere, meaning to continue doing something and not stop. In Arabic we say ثابر. ثابر يثابر المثابرة. Okay, next verb is to stick to something, meaning to stay with it and not stop. We say تمسك بي. تمسك بي. It's from the verb مسك or أمسك, to hold on to something or to catch. So that means if you're holding on to it, you're not letting go, right? So that is تمسك بي. تمسك يتمسك التمسك. It's a تفعل form, like تكلم, form 5. Then we have to regret. To regret is ندم يندم الندم. To regret. Sometimes you join a club and then you regret joining. So you need to be able to say that, right? And then we have to limit, which is حد. يحد الحد. Maybe you've heard the word حدود, limits or boundaries between countries, borders. This is the verb that comes from حد, to limit. So sometimes you have to limit your activities or limit your spending. So this verb might be useful. in this context. And then فشل is to, what does فشل mean? To fail. So sometimes you try a hobby but you fail at it, or you try to continue with your hobby and you fail. So فشل is to fail. فشل يفشل, الفشل is the noun form. And then to return, what does to return mean? Yes, عاد. عاد يعود, العودة is the noun form. So, as I said, this is part 5 of the 1000 verbs series. There are 22 verbs here. I will be publishing a video with these verbs, giving the Arabic past, present, and noun form, and then the English infinitive. Once I'm done with this, I will publish a story that puts these verbs in context. I hope you enjoy them, and I'm going to put the link to the Zoom session here, so you can join me on Zoom. This session is always 15 minutes, and then we meet on Zoom, so you can actually practice using these verbs in context and talking about whatever topic we are dealing with. Today's topic was hobbies. Let me know in the comments box if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Also, let me know what videos you'd like me to make here. After all, this channel is for you. It started as a channel for English speakers who want to learn Arabic. But then I had a few people ask for videos explaining in French and in Spanish. Being a polyglot teacher, I decided to do that. I did some of those videos. And then I met a lot of English learners who speak Arabic, or Arabic speakers who are learning English, who requested bilingual content where they can actually practice and learn English through Arabic. So most of my content now is just bilingual. Short stories in English and Arabic, videos in English and Arabic, etc. This 1000 verbs list is one of those, and I'll be, inshallah, publishing a book with these 1000 verbs in context, with the stories that go with them. Let me know what you would like to see in this book. I would love to hear from you. So see you at the Zoom session, if not this week, next week, every Tuesday, 12 p.m. New York time, unless I let you know otherwise. Make sure to click on the bell to get notified when I go live or publish a video. I hope to see you soon. Assalamu alaikum. Bye everyone.